What is one profession where you don't ever want to hear them genuinely say, oops, on the job? A mime. A tattoo artist. The one I worked for would say it all the time, just to mess with a client. 2 O's in Bob, right? Surgeon. You know what they say, surgery is just stabbing someone back to life. Nuclear missile operator. So I did hear someone say oops while I was getting a needle aspiration biopsy for thyroid cancer, and they were looking to see where to go in with an ultrasound. The doctor takes a stab and the radiology tech goes, oops, nope, that's her jugular, and they just kind of laughed and shrugged and kept going. So apparently I was the only one who found that untoward. I love that you use untoward. That is a word that doesn't get enough use these days. Barber. Well, hair grows back, carrot ears, carrot don't. Happened to me when I was like 13. Luckily it was just a sliver. Unluckily it was my good ear and not the pointy elf ear that could have used a little off the top. This isn't as critical as some jobs, but when I was in school for computer IT in the late 90s, our teacher always emphasized that if we ever have to make a house call to fix a person's computer, never say oops. People freak out. That said, I never want to hear the guy in charge of hitting the nuclear launch button say oops. Quote. I have a friend who is a dentist and he always joked that he never said oops when he makes a mistake. He just says rinse. A pilot. Attention passengers. Whoops. I once went to the doctor because I had an issue with a nail root on my finger. He just said, I don't know what that is. Let's try cutting it. I promptly started bleeding all over the table and he goes, well that was probably a bad idea. I should really change doctors. Nuclear engineer when they are working in the control room of a nuclear reactor. It's not 3 Röntgen, it's 15,000. I have 2 personal experiences that fit this, but maybe weren't that bad. 1. I was getting a colonoscopy, and the anesthesiologist comes in to go over the process with me and drops his clipboard, making papers go flying everywhere. He drops down to pick them up and huffs under his breath. It's just one of those days. I was like, great, I am gonna die. 2. I had to get a wisdom tooth taken out. The dentist comes in wearing flip-flops, shorts, a Hawaiian shirt, and is limping. Plops down on his seat and goes, here we go. Quote. It totally looked like he woke up hungover his balls to come operate on my mouth. A doctor. I mean, if his pen falls down and I hear oops, I guess it's okay. What if it falls on your organs? A pen. On my testicule. Crap. Greater than a pen. On my testicule. Is that the name of your panic at the disco cover band? Bomb Squad. They don't usually have time to vocalize it. Dentist. Airplane pilot. Surgeon. Prostitute. One of those is unique. Haven't read that yet on these questions. Oops in IT can mean anything from oops, accidentally reset the wrong password, to oops, accidentally pushed a patch requiring a reboot and now every server is rebooting. Source. IT person. Had a tattoo artist say it while tattooing the inside of my lip. Got the tattoo for free and to this day I have a hidden typo. Bungee jump operator. No idea what the actual job title is, but I'm sure you know what I mean. In my intro to engineering class in college, one team project everyone worked on was a bungee jump simulation, where we had to calculate the correct length of cord needed for the attached weight to drop from a height, get close to the floor, but not touch the floor, based on the stretchiness of the cord or whatever. I changed majors so I don't remember the details. Only one group didn't have their weight hit the floor. I knew at the end of that project that I would never be an engineer, a bungee jump operator, or a person who goes bungee jumping. Laser eye removal person. Edit. Oops. A magician. More specifically when they have finished performing that one trick where it looks like they are cutting a body in half. Gynecologists. Urologist. This actually happened to me. Had a vasectomy. The doc's method was tying off all four ends of the vas deferens and then cauterizing each one as a extra precaution. The electrocauterization machine was not properly grounded and I was lying on a stainless steel table. He said oops right after cauterizing the first one, and I let out the unexpected scream of being electrocuted directly in the balls. I legit had a dentist say this one time while he was working on my teeth. I immediately tensed up and tried asking what happened, but my mouth was forced open. And as soon as he heard me say something, he told me to try not to talk, and so I had no choice but to go back to just being still. For some reason, once he was all done, I either forgot to ask what happened or I intentionally decided not to. But yay, that was incredibly frightening, even if it seems nothing major came of it. Pilot. Before it was automated, the guy operating railway junctions remotely, neurosurgeon or ophthalmic surgeon, an ophthalmologist performing a lens implant procedure after cataract surgery, roller coaster technician. Always take a few rusty bolts with you to the theme park. On the initial climb, pull one out and tell the person next to you it just fell out their seat. LASIK. Accidentally cutting out my eye, then cutting the other one to make it look even. Skyscraper window washer. Wax specialist. Hairdresser. A vasectomist winking face. Your doctor in the middle of a colonoscopy. Oopsies. Sheila, can you come in here? Accidentally put my dick in the patient again. Then to the patient. Sorry, keep confusing it with the scope. Doctor doing your prostate exam. My dad was cutting my hair to about an inch long when I was about 8 years old. He was trimming the front of my hair and I hear him say, oops. Big, square bald chunk that connected to my forehead lol. Air traffic controller. Skydiving instructor, especially before jumping. Chernobyl technician. A priest I guess. There are tiny oopsies all the time. Usually the book is on the wrong page or the microphone isn't switched on. Good fun when someone completely blanks an important, audible part during a live stream. Though, a medical specialist, a good friend had to have a spinal tap for intracranial hypertension. She had no one to go with her and she was very scared. So I went with her so she wouldn't be alone. As the neurology registrar put the needle in, he says, "Oh shit," under his breath, but loud enough that we both heard. My friend suddenly says, "Is it supposed to feel like it's in my lung?" The registrar looked at his supervisor with a look of sheer panic. Luckily my friend was lying face down so she couldn't see what was happening. The supervising neurologist took over, pulled the needle out and put it in correctly, at which point my friend let out an awful cry and the procedure was done within a couple minutes. I told her what happened the next day. Figured no point scaring her while she needed to relax, recover. Someone painting a really intricate design. FBI agent, a lab technician at one of those labs with a very high biosafety level. I'm having a hard time thinking of any job that I would want to hear someone say that. Comedian? Or an actor, because bloopers are funny as shit. Ah yes, good point. Prostitution, and specifically just as you're about to blow your load. Cryptologist. May I ask what that is? Bum doctor. Oh, brilliant interaction all around, great job team. An acupuncturist. Explosive ordnance disposal. Bomb disposal. Aviation mechanic. Your lawyer. A mohel. Came here to say this. Dentist surgeon. Bomb diffuser. Your accountant. Anesthetist. I see what you did there. Any job you are paying somebody to do. I heard my dentist say oops. I was having a tooth removed and before he even started, the dumbass injected his own finger with the anesthetic. Still went ahead with the tooth extraction though. LMAO. Look up Tim Conway dentist. The skit was inspired by an incident like yours. Mahel. Came here to say this. Serial killer. Then again, you don't want to hear them say anything. Cosmetologist. A mohel. For all you Gentiles out there, a mohel is the person who performs the bris, traditional Jewish circumcision, hooker after I undress. so no one is gonna say it. Fine, okay, police officer. Chef, when they're chopping things with a knife. It was bad. A good professional chef knife can be sharp as hell. I have a good one, but I'm afraid to use it. Use it, it will change cooking for you. I know people say to use a sharp knife to reduce the chances you'll get cut. But I've seen so many bad cuts that I'm not so sure of that. EOD or bomb tech. Granted, you probably wouldn't have time to process it. Anyone who operates nuclear reactors. A pilot. You're getting a root canal. They do the filing things. Then the dentist asks, hold on, which tooth was it? Quote, doctors, obviously, any kind. A banker after the crisis. Surgeons. I was in theater one day with my fellow medical students and we were observing a thyroidectomy procedure. Basically removal of a gland in your neck when it gets too large or becomes cancerous. And the consultant showed us a tiny nerve that's responsible for phonation that lies very close to that gland. Imagine you just cut it off by mistake and boom, the patient's voice gets affected. Airplane manufacturers. Balmer. I used to have a fridge magnet that said, never say, oops, always say, ah, interesting. A movie editor. Oops, there goes my 15 hours work. Grid operator. Hearing that means the rest of your shift is going to be rough. Chiropractor. Well, you might not hear the oops depending on what he broke. Ghostbusters. Proctologist. Pilot. Bonus points for not again, right after. Nuclear power plant. Looking at you, Chernobyl. Proctologist. Surgical staff. Oops, I cut the wrong thing. Pilot. A surgeon or a pilot. Or the doctor delivering your child. Heard that when I was getting a steroid injection in my spine. Doc said, don't worry. I just lost the image on the screen for a minute. My reply was, I don't give a shit what the reason is. When you have a needle in someone's spine, don't say oops. Your lab partner. Military drone operator. Then again, I can't really tell the difference either. Most likely a pilot. If you hear a surgeon say oops, chances are they need to give you a double dose on anesthesia. I can imagine you don't want to hear that from him. Oh hell. Nuclear engineer on site. Heart surgeon. Brain surgeon, and you're the patient. Brain surgeon. The person who helps you buckles in on a roller coaster right before pushing the button. Dentist. A surgeon or dentist. An EMT. Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Nuclear reactor technician. Pilot, mid-flight. Fireman. They could have dropped a person back into the fire rolling on the floor laughing. Plastic surgeon. Mason. EMT. Dentist. Brain surgeon. The guy who fires the nukes. A police officer. Pilot. Any healthcare related job. A sushi chef. Dentist for a local anesthetic procedure. You're awake. You have no sensation in the area they're working on. If he says oops, it could be anything from he scratched at your gum to he drilled through to your skull. You have no idea of how bad they fucked up. Just the knowledge they did. Chiropractor. Mime. Nurse, doctor. Those guys keeping the nuclear reactor running. MMA fighter. Yeah, he's not recovering from that. Mahel. Chiropractor or physiotherapist. Biochemical engineer. Your barber. Mahel. Surgeon during my brain surgery. I can see myself slowly recovering from anesthesia and I hear a doctor say, oh shit, fuck, Fuick. Okay, we need a coffin in room 16. Please? Quote. That's when I start asking questions. An air traffic controller juggling 23 aircraft dodging thunderstorms. Tattoo artist happened to me. A rectal surgeon. A giggin' guy, whose I shooted a hostage, quote, was a remodeling contractor. People make mistakes, but I never wanted to hear my people say oops in front of a client. Trapeze artist. Lockheed engineer that programmed the Mars climate orbiter with foot-pound units. JPL engineers assumed the coding had been converted to metric and calculated accordingly. Missed by a mile, or over 2.165 kilometers. Whatever a metric ship ton is. An architect. a nuclear reactor. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.